Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Norwich Talk for another match preview, another preferred 11 video. We're playing Chelsea this weekend, the 12:30 early kickoff on BT Sport. I shall be watching. I'm sure we all will be indeed. Now, I want to start today's video by just kind of talking a little bit about Brighton. And when I say a little bit, I mean a couple of minutes, because that performance at the time, I think we tried to really balance the positives and negatives from the game. Whereas right now, I want to only focus on the positives, because as a Norwich City fan right now, we need positives to cling on to. We need reasons to believe that we can stay up. Now, I'm very aware there's negatives, of course, but we need that branch of hope, don't we? And I'm going to try to deliver a little bit of that. Now, in front of me, before we get into the lineup, I do just want to say the Brighton performance for me, which gives me a little slither of hope that we can play well tomorrow, is that the Brighton performance was an ideal away performance. Now, I feel like a few of you will know what I mean immediately, but I'll explain anyway. The first 20 minutes of the game, we were really soaking up a lot of pressure. We were kind of shooting ourselves in the foot with the passing a little bit. Ben Gibson kept getting sort of pegged back into his own half, really, put into difficult positions. But we didn't concede, and we soaked up the pressure. We then created a couple of opportunities before half-time. You've got the Sargent one, which he should be scoring. The less said about that, the better. And then in the second half, again, it was a case of just kind of feeling the game, seeing how things were going. And then the last 20, we came alive, didn't we? And we had more than enough opportunities to win the game. That's a positive, but also negative. A negative in the fact that we didn't take them, but a positive in the fact that we actually created chances. A lot of the issues we'd had with Norwich City so far, or we have with Norwich City so far, is that we aren't creating chances, that we haven't been creative enough. With this sort of five at the back, solid midfield three, you do limit the amount of chances you can create. But Norwich, I think, created enough to win the game against Brighton. We should have, I think, personally, and I know if you're a Brighton fan watching this, if a Brighton fan was watching this, there's going to be no Brighton fans watching this, they would probably disagree and say they equally had as many opportunities. You look at the Trossard and Tim Krul's save, you look at Maupay at the end. I think that might be the only two to the top of my head, but we're Norwich fans, aren't we? So that gives me a slither of hope going into Saturday that we can perform well. I'm not going to be crazy. I'm not going to say we can draw or win, because I don't think we will. I think Werner and Lukaku are doubts. Now, I'm filming this before the press conference, because I've got to go out and do stuff after the press conference, so I won't have time to film this video. So fingers crossed nobody's injured. Otherwise, I'm going to have a bit of egg on my face. Now, the last thing I want to say before the lineup, and once I give the lineup, you'll see why I've stalled for so long, is right now with Norwich City. Now, this is a pill I've had to swallow myself, because I want to see goals, I want to see chances, I want to be entertained. But the thing with Norwich City right now, with their goal of wanting to stay in the Premier League, whatever happens, it's going to take time for us to create a bit of momentum. No matter how we feel, like realistically, that Brighton game was a positive result for Norwich, building off of the Burnley result in terms of solidarity at the bank. Now, we're probably sick of that word solidarity, aren't we? Because we want to be attacking teams, we want to be scoring goals, but as I said, it's going to take time. That's something that, and now by no means should we just accept everything that happens. I'm not saying that at all, please believe me. But whatever happens, it's going to take time. And I think it will start with Daniel Farke making the right sub in a game to go and win it. So if you look at the 11 against Brighton, for example, I think if he brought on Jolis, Cantwell, or if Rashica had the impact he wanted, then that's where you can then start to think, right, how can we change the formation to maybe attack games a bit more? Because the players really need a win under their belt, but I don't think they need that as much as to stop losing games, if you know what I mean. I think that makes sense. I think it does. That's just kind of a mini rallying cry, really, because, I thought I'd try and give you a bit of optimism, something to hold on to. Now, I'm aware some of you might think I'm a happy clapper, but it's better than being miserable 24/7, isn't it? Which, if we go and lose 7-0 on the weekend, I'll go back to that mode. But with the lineup, I'm starting with Tim Krul in goal. Made a cracking save against Trossard, didn't he? I think there was another one as well in the Brighton game. I don't know. Tim Krul obviously in goal. Along the back line, Kabak, Hanley, Gibson. On the ball, Kabak is brave. is the word I'll use. Gibson, I thought, kept getting put in really dodgy positions. But as defenders, I think the three of them have been fantastic. Grant Hanley was an absolute colossus against Brighton, by the way. Really, really good. And I'm glad to see him in this sort of back five working very well because, again, it releases a bit of pressure. It eases a bit of pressure in terms of exploiting his weaknesses, which are essentially on the ball. He sometimes isn't the best, is he? If you give him too much time to think, maybe he'll do something silly. Maybe not, I don't know. On the left and right, Giannoulis and Aarons. I think Aarons did a Fabrizio Romano Twitch stream or something recently, which I need to catch up on. I've not heard great things. I think it was a bit boring, apparently. Giannoulis as well. These two players are fundamental to the way we play at the moment. Everything in terms of width comes through them. Now, it normally does. It's 50-50 with the wingers, really, when we're at a four-back. But in this formation, they are pivotal. And Max Aarons was praising the way Norwich have been playing in terms of it allows him to get forward. And if he's happy, then he's going to play well. And we know how good Max Aarons can be. Giannoulis as well, I think he needs to work on what to do with the ball in the final third because sometimes he's whipping the ball in and Norwich aren't scoring crosses, especially against Brighton, for example, where the defence are all about 6'8" each. It was ridiculous. But they're both very brave players. They're both very attacking minded. So I have no doubts that these are the two right men for this system. In the middle, now this was kind of a talking point on the latest podcast, but I'm sticking with Norman McLean PLM for the reasons of that I mentioned about the Brighton game. It was the ideal away performance. There's a lot of running in there. There's a lot of tackling. There's a little bit of creativity. You've got Norman who just tries to do literally everything, and as far as I'm aware, Matthias, go for it because you're very good at it. I think it's only a matter of time before he absolutely rifles one into the top corner, which I'm really looking forward to that. But I think away from home against such I think diverse in terms of Chelsea, and by that I mean when they play the big teams, they defend really well. When they play the lesser good teams, the not so good teams compared to the big teams, I don't want to say there's any not good teams in the Prem because I don't think that's true, although I would say that as a Norwich fan, wouldn't I? They can really dominate, and I think that midfield three are kind of the ideal combo to sort of counter a high pressing Chelsea, because you've got McLean who's just going to run everywhere, you've got PLM who's going to run everywhere as well, and you've got Norman who will do whatever he wants, and that's usually pretty good. Now up front, I've gone for Timu Pukki, and next to him I've gone for Josh Sargent. Now I've been very vocal in my support for Josh Sargent. I think a lot of people were really disappointed in him at the weekend, last weekend, which I think is it's kind of fair enough. He missed some sitters, didn't he? He wasted some good chances, but especially against Chelsea and especially away from home, his running, his work ethic, I think is going to be pivotal to Norwich City looking to play well. I have to keep saying looking to play well, not to get a point because I don't want to get carried away. Timu Pukki, you have to have him on the pitch, don't you? You can see what a good creator is as well. I think he was the one who gave the ball to Sargent for the almost one-on-one, which I think his touch let him down for, didn't it? But I think on paper they're a really good combination. You just need Sargent to maybe take his chances. But I said this on the podcast as well. The Brighton game was the only time I think where I've watched him and thought, right, you've missed a sitter here. If he now goes and does it 3 or 4 more games in a row, then you start going, right, okay, what's going on here? Pukki, you give him a chance or a clear-cut chance, he'll score. Maybe he needs to get another one under his belt to really sort of open the floodgates for him. He was kind of unlucky against Brighton. He looked a bit nervous to pull the trigger, but we've seen it before in the Premier League as well, when the confidence is flowing, which this Norwich City team at the moment, they're building the confidence. But once it's flowing, he scores you 10 to 15 goals this season, which will be very important. But as you can tell, unchanged lineup for me. I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments down below on my lineup, what your lineup will be. I think realistically, we all know this is the one that Daniel Farke will go for, providing there's no injuries. I'll try and get this video out before the press conference so people aren't just like, oh, this is, so-and-so's injured. But yeah, there's my thoughts before Chelsea. I just want to see a performance that I'm proud of. That's all, which is cute, I know. But, as a Norwich City fan, you've got to do your best to just not cry, haven't you? It's a tough task at times. Next time you see us will probably be after the game. I don't know if we'll do a match review. We should do, fingers crossed, unless we lose drastically, then we just won't be bothered. But there'll definitely be a podcast next week to discuss all the ongoings with Norwich City. If you could leave a like on the video, if you enjoyed it, that is, of course. If you want to subscribe too, that would be greatly appreciated. We're on 1.5k subs. It's a beautiful number. I don't know why, but I love it all the same. So until next time, we'll see you again very, very soon.